That's a nice fish. I saw that school of shad up there. Good one. So we're going to put a little tail on here. Just take a small amount. Doesn't have to be real big, just a very small clump, about the length that we want it. I like this yellow color in our water here at Lake Fork. Honestly, if you have a favorite color that works for you this time of year, just use whatever. White is a good one. But this yellow, and I think it's because of our kind of tanniny color stuff that we have in our water, this yellow seems to show up better or something. They just seem to see it better. Make sure and brush this out always. You can see in that brush how much stuff came out of that when I did just that tiny little clump. It really makes a difference. It ties it better and it gets the junk out of it. So we're just going to tie that in. Okay, so we're going to add a little glue on here. Be careful not too much. Be careful when you do this that your glue doesn't drip down your line to your thread spool. I've done that before and it glues all your thread together. Never a good thing. Now I'm going to start this body of this, start wrapping it at the eye of the hook, kind of backwards from what you would think you'd normally do. So we're going to start wrapping at the eye, and we're going to wrap straight back to about the bend of the hook, or right where your right where your bucktail is, just like that. Okay. And next, we're going to tie in our feathers. And I'm just using these white, whatever you call them, feathers. They're beautiful. And I might use 2 or 3 of these. So I'm going to tie one in and see how far we get, and then we'll just keep going until we're done. I'm going to just palmer these on, move my thread a little forward, because I want a really pretty thick feather base on the bottom of this thing. And the reason is because a lot of the, first of all, I want the contrast, but also a lot of our frogs out here have a white or a mottled belly on them, and when they're floating above those bass, that is what the bass sees. So I'm just kind of imitating the part of the frog that the bass sees. He really doesn't see the top. Assuming he's thinking it's a frog, and he might be just thinking it's a thing. He might go, what is that thing? That thing looks like it's something I need to bite. So now I'm going to just keep going with my feathers here. Move it a little bit forward. This is feather number 2. And now this is just because these feathers are short. You may have some way better ones than I do. But it's also, you're covering the whole shank of the hook, so it's covering some space with it. So we'll just keep palmering that feather till we're done with it. Tie it in, cut it. I'll tie back just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to advance my thread a little bit. Grab another feather. And hackle works, but you don't get as much as the fibers aren't as long on most hackle. So just keep tying. We're almost there. Go ahead and tie this one all the way to the end. Pretty much there. So it took us 3 of these little hackles. This is just a strung hackle. It's not on a. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our hackle. So now and just kind of push everything to the side a little bit. And I'm going to go right here and I'm going to build a little bit of a thread dam. And that's to put my glue on. A little drop of glue right here. Doesn't take much. We're going to make sure that we bend this where we wanted it back. What I'm trying to get to is this. Now what this will do back here, this will just help move some water, but it'll also help this thing stay up a little bit. That'll sort of dictate how it moves through the water. Like it, and this just gives me a little more foam to float the back end of this thing. Okay, man, that looks really good. So let's put a little drop of glue on here. And we're going to bend that back, and now we're going to just glue him. Tie him up right there. Almost makes a little bit of a head on it. Now this is really pretty wide. It's wide. So when I fish it, I make sure I have scissors with me, because sometimes I trim them back if I don't like the way they're moving through the water. Some of them move different. You can see by comparison, this one is so much narrower, and I'll probably end up going ahead and trimming this big one back. Now again, this one that's narrow, I did freehand. I didn't have my pattern figured out at that point. I was just trying to figure out how to tie the thing. So now let's tie on mine, fishing in Lake Fork, if you're going to fish it around lily pads, you're going to want to put a weed guard on it. And so that's what we're going to do next. So let's talk about how to do this weed guard. I just have this 40-pound, this is just hard wire or hard nylon, that's really what it is. Saltwater leader, essentially. And when you take it off the spool, it has a little curve to it. You can kind of see a little curve in it right there. Get this out of the way. And you want that curve up when you tie it onto the fly. But first we're going to make us a little base to tie it with. We're going to take these pliers. These are little just silver worker pliers, and they don't have any grip stuff on them. They're smooth. I'm going to take and I'm going to just squeeze that really hard, and when I'm done with it, you can see a little flat spot. Okay, you see that little flat spot? Now I take that little flat spot and I bend it. Let's see how I do this. I'm going to bend it against the pliers. Just bend it down. like that. And that gives me a little foot. Let's see, you see the little foot, okay? Now, we're gonna take our fly, and we're gonna set our little foot right in line with the hook shank and the eye of the hook. And we're going to just tie it straight down. And you're thinking, that looks simple. It is simple. I'm a simple guy. I've got plenty of ways to adjust this at this point. I can see that I'm not lining up with my hook real good, so I'm going to just redo it. I'm going to get it the way I want it. Now you can, sometimes I just take and hold it against that point of that hook and push it down there, and that should give me the exact spot I need. Even if it's not lined up precisely with the eye, I don't care, as long as it's hitting that tip of that hook. That's what I'm after. Now, if you bend it, you can bend that little foot forward a little bit. Now this one right here is kind of loose. I need to tie it in. And if you have it a little loosey-goosey, or it's not sticking out quite right, first of all, we're going to cut it off to the length closer that we want. Now the shorter it is and the better it's tied in, the stiffer this is going to be. So when it goes over something, if you're pulling it soft enough, it'll brush over it. If you're pulling it too hard, it won't. It'll hook it. Okay, now we have this I've got it lined up. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's lined up the way I want it, but I have a couple more little things I want to do. Now I cut it where it's maybe 1/8 of an inch, or a little less than 1/4 of an inch longer than the tip of the hook, point of the hook. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to flatten that out just like I did when I made the foot. Then I'm going to take them and I'm going to bend it down carefully. And you can see how that, I don't know how well you can see it, but it rides right over the point of that hook. But it's soft, so it's not going to keep anything from getting hung up, but we're going to fix that. The straighter this is, the harder it is. So what I'm going to do is go in here and I'm going to wrap around the back of this thing. I don't know if you can see that. Wrap around the back, a few wraps to get it where I want it. And you can see how much stiffer that is. It just kind of stiffens it up. And one of the things I've had to learn to do tying these types of baits is I've had to learn to use everything to my advantage. The thread, the glue, everything. And it all can work for you eventually. So I kind of have that really right where I want it. I like the position of it. Now if I'm in fishing, if I'm out fishing with this thing and I'm getting a lot of short strikes, the fish aren't getting to the hook or the hook's not getting to the fish, and that happens, I'll take a pair of scissors and I'll clip that little sucker off and shorten it up. You know, just do what you got to do. But you can see that's pretty cool. So if that's running over a lily stem or something, but it's also soft enough that if a fish bites it, it can get down to them. All right, Good job, Alex. Good job. So let's get this baby wrapped up. One other thing. If you've got a good sharp pair of scissors, when you're cutting these threads off at the head of these, you don't have to snip them. If you've got good scissors, you can just use the edge of that like a razor blade and do that. And the reason I learned to do that is because I kept, when I snipped the thread, I'd snip something else I didn't want to snip and have to start over. That's just a little tip. Okay, so here we are. Here's our fly. We'll fish with it like this, and then we'll see if that actually is how we want to leave it, or if we want to change it. And also you can take a here for some reason. You can take a Sharpie and you can put some, put some little lines on them, because that's, in nature, nothing's totally perfect. So if you want to, where he's running down in the water, maybe they can see him from the top or something. But you might want to have some little lines on there or something. Just take a Sharpie and do that. But all in all, this has been a very successful fly for me. Give it a try. I hope you enjoy it. Have any suggestions? Leave a comment, or if you have any questions, leave a comment. Have a great day.